I reserved a private room, paid in advance, and sent calendar invitations for my birthday dinner. No one showed up. An hour later, my sister tagged everyone in a photo of a family night out at a steakhouse across town. I didn't reply. I just posted a reminder. I'm the one paying mom's rent and dad's car insurance. The next morning, I canceled all automatic payments. That afternoon, my phone exploded with calls from family. I didn't answer. My name is Sergio. I'm 33 years old, and for the last 10, I've been my family's unofficial lifeline. You know, every family has that person. The one who bails everyone out when they can't make ends meet. The one who lends money that never gets paid back. The one who shows up, foots the bill, and makes sure no one ends up sleeping in their car. That's me. I never complained, because for a long time, I thought that was what family did. You step up. You take care of your own. And since I grew up without much, I promised myself that when I did well, I would do everything I could to make sure no one else in my family went through that kind of struggle. But I've come to realize something. There's a big difference between being generous and being taken for granted. And what happened on my birthday this year made that difference painfully clear. It was supposed to be a small but meaningful celebration. Nothing extravagant, just something intimate with the people I loved. Good food, a chance to catch up, laugh, and take a breather from our busy lives. I booked a private room at a nice local restaurant. Nothing fancy, but just enough of a touch to make it feel like a special occasion. I paid in advance to secure the room for €100 non-refundable. I even chose a place near everyone's neighborhood, so no one could use distance as an excuse. I created a calendar invite, emailed it, and texted it to each family member. Mom, Teresa. Dad, Manuel. My older sister, Raquel, and her husband, Mario. My younger brother, Ruben. Even my cousin, Elena, and her boyfriend, Andres, who somehow were always invited to every family event, even though they never reciprocated. I sent a reminder a week before and another 2 days before, just to be sure. The day arrived, and I was excited. I put on the blazer Mom had given me for Christmas last year. I arrived 15 minutes early, checked with the staff to make sure the cake was ready, and waited. And waited. At first, I didn't think much of it. My family is always late. Maybe there was traffic. Maybe someone's kid had a last-minute diaper emergency. I ordered a drink, checked my phone, and smiled, imagining them all bursting through the door, breathless and full of apologies. 30 minutes passed. Then 45. Still no one. I texted the family group chat, "Everything okay? I'm here whenever you guys are ready to arrive." No one replied. An hour later, I felt something ugly for the first time. It wasn't anger, not yet. It was a tightness in my chest. Shame. I looked around. The room, still perfectly set. The candles burning above the untouched silverware. The waiter approached with a polite, almost pitying smile and asked if I wanted to order anything. I told him I'd wait 10 more minutes. That's when my phone buzzed. An Instagram notification. I opened it and my stomach dropped. It was a new post from Raquel. A group photo at a steakhouse. And not just her and Mario, but everyone. Mom, Teresa. Dad, Manuel. Ruben. Elena. Even Andres, my cousin's boyfriend. All smiling like it was the best moment of the month. The caption read, "Family night. Grateful for the ones who really show up. #blessed." I felt the air leave my lungs. I stared at the screen, numb. It didn't make sense. I scrolled through the comments. My aunt, Anna Boleyn, had written, "Looks like fun. Just missing Sergio." And Raquel had the nerve to reply, "He had his own plans tonight, I think." My own plans. My own plans were to be sitting at that very table with them. I didn't even feel sadness at first. I felt numb. Then came the nausea. I didn't reply. I didn't comment. I didn't text. I didn't call. I stood up, left the waiter a tip that cost more than the untouched drink I'd barely tasted, and walked out of that restaurant, my hands shaking. On the drive home, my emotions shifted from confusion to humiliation, and then to something else entirely. Clarity. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't a scheduling conflict or a miscommunication. It was intentional. And worst of all, it wasn't the first time something like this had happened. I thought about last Christmas, when they forgot to tell me the dinner had been moved to Ruben's house. I thought about the family group chat, where it always seemed like I was tagged last, or not at all. I thought about Raquel's bachelorette party 5 years ago, when she gave a speech thanking everyone but me, even though I was the one who paid for the cake and personalized decorations. I'd always excused it as carelessness, as things that happen. But this was different. This was exclusion disguised as a steak dinner. And then I started thinking about everything I'd done for them over the years. The €500 I sent Mom every month to cover the rent in that senior apartment complex she loved so much. The fact that Dad hadn't paid his car insurance out of pocket since 2018 because I had it automated from my account. Because I had it automated from my own bank account when he lost his job and said, "I'll pay you back as soon as I'm back on my feet." Spoiler, he never did. Raquel and Mario's wedding photographer? Me. The security deposit on the apartment when Ruben moved to Valencia? Me. Elena's dental emergency? Yep, me again. I never kept track. I never rubbed it in their faces. I just assumed that when the time came, they would show me the same level of love and consideration. Like, for example, on my birthday. When I got home, I sat on the couch in the dark. I wasn't crying, I didn't even feel like I could. I just kept refreshing that Instagram post, watching the likes go up, as if the world was confirming that I didn't matter to the people I prioritized most. I could have sent a sarcastic text. I could have called and demanded answers. But instead, I did something else. I opened my banking app. Mom Teresa's rent transfer? Canceled. Her building would send her a notice in a few days. Dad Manuel's automatic car insurance payment? Deleted. The policy would lapse if he didn't act fast. I went down the list. Every automatic payment. Every little favor. Every silent, unappreciated transaction that had become part of my monthly routine. Canceled. One by one. And to top it all off, I posted an Instagram story. It wasn't spiteful or dramatic. Just a photo of my untouched birthday cake with a caption that read, "Reminder, I'm the one paying Mom's rent and Dad's car insurance." No stakes. No tags. No names. But they saw it. I know they saw it. Because the next morning, my phone exploded. Missed calls from Mom. Texts from Dad asking if everything was all right. Even Ruben texted, "Dude, Raquel said you're being dramatic. We didn't think you cared so much." Raquel, of course, had the audacity to write, "Wow. If you had a problem, you could have said something. No need to air dirty laundry like this." Right. I was the one airing dirty laundry. Not them, for deliberately ignoring me on my birthday to go to a family night I wasn't even invited to. But I didn't reply to any of them. I left every message unread. I let every call ring until it went to voicemail. I went silent. I didn't even know what I wanted from them. An apology? An explanation? Maybe I just wanted them, for once, to sit in the silence. To feel my absence the way I had felt theirs. I let the utilities get cut off. I let the rent notices pile up. I let them wonder if maybe, just maybe, the person they'd been ignoring had finally stopped showing up. And the funny thing is, that was just the beginning. I didn't expect the silence to hit them so fast or so hard. By the afternoon, Mom, Teresa, had called 4 times. The last voicemail she left sounded curiously cheerful. "Hi, sweetie. Not sure if you got my earlier message. Just wanted to see how you're doing. I think something weird happened with the rent this month. Maybe a bank error. Anyway, love you. Call me." An error. As if the sudden withdrawal of all the financial support I'd been providing was a bank glitch and not a blaring siren call for attention. Then Dad, Manuel, texted, "Got a notice about the insurance. Are you sure you didn't forget to update the card? Looks like it's expired. Call me when you can." as if it was nothing, as if I'd made a simple oversight, when the reality was that I'd been carrying the whole team for years. And then came Raquel. Oh, Raquel. Her first text was short and condescending. Seriously, Sergio, you're making a fool of yourself. We didn't exclude you. We just wanted a quiet dinner. Are you overreacting? When I didn't respond, she texted an hour later. You could have said you felt left out. No need to make mom and dad freak out like this. I stared at that message for a long time. What struck me most wasn't the gaslighting, but how quickly she went from mocking me to blaming me for the consequences of her own actions. As if all of this was my fault for reacting to their cruelty, and not because of the fact that they had instigated it from the beginning. It wasn't about my feelings. It was a choice. A deliberate decision. They didn't forget me. They didn't think I wouldn't care. They knew exactly what they were doing. And that realization hurt more than I imagined. I didn't reply to her either. Not because I lacked words, but because I had too many, and none of them were going to fix the real problem. They only valued me for what I could give, not for who I was. The next few days were painfully quiet. No new posts from Raquel. No calls from Mom, Teresa. But on the fourth day, Ruben showed up at my door. Literally. I opened it, and there he was, standing on the porch like he'd come to borrow the lawnmower. Hoodie, hands in pockets, sheepish grin. Hey, man, he said, like everything was fine. I leaned against the door frame. I didn't know you were in town. Yeah, I drove down, he said. Wanted to talk in person. I stepped aside and let him in. He walked in like he still lived there. Like we were still teenagers. Like he hadn't skipped my birthday dinner without so much as a text message. He sat on the couch and patted the cushion next to him. Are you mad? That question ignited something inside me. I didn't sit. I'm not mad, I repeated. I'm humiliated. There's a difference. He held up his hands. Okay, fair. But come on, do you really think it was some big conspiracy? We just wanted a casual dinner. No one was trying to hurt you. I walked into the kitchen, got a glass of water just to have something to do. Something to hold. I looked out the window for a moment and then turned back to him. Ruben, I wasn't invited. He frowned. That's not true. Then why didn't anyone say anything when I sent the invites? Why didn't anyone respond when I texted from the restaurant? Why did Raquel say I had other plans? You knew I was sitting there alone in a private room, and you still posted a group photo like I was a stranger. He looked away for a second, rubbed his jaw. We didn't think you'd care, man. You always seem, I don't know, self-sufficient. I let out a short, bitter laugh. You mean because I pay for everything? Because I never ask for anything in return. He didn't answer. That's what I thought, I said, nodding. He shifted uncomfortably. Look, Mom, Teresa, and Dad, Manuel, are freaking out. They said the rental office called and Dad's worried about the car. Could you, I don't know, give them a heads up before you do stuff like this? I walked over slowly, set the glass on the coffee table. I've been giving them a heads up for years, Ruben. Every month, in the form of silent, uncomplaining support. You can't show up now and ask me to say it out loud just because you finally noticed the silence. He stood up, frustrated. So what? You're just going to cut them off completely? You think you're punishing us, but all you're doing is making everyone's life harder. No, I said calmly. You did that when you decided I wasn't enough of a family to sit at the table with you. He stared at me for a long moment, as if trying to find something to say that didn't sound like an excuse or nonsense. He didn't find it. I'm leaving, he mumbled. I nodded once and opened the door for him. He paused at the threshold, turned back to me. This seems like a lot of drama, Sergio. Then maybe you've forgotten how it feels to be left out, I replied. I closed the door behind him, locked it, and stood there for a few minutes, my hand still on the knob, my heart beating hard, not from the argument, but from the weight of finally saying it out loud. I had spent so long biting my tongue, convincing myself to be the bigger person, telling myself I didn't need acknowledgement. But the truth was, I did need it. I needed to matter, not for what I provided, but for who I was. And for the first time in years, I wasn't going to apologize for expecting that. And the worst part was, the storm hadn't even really started. Mom, Teresa, was still pretending she didn't know what was happening. Dad, Manuel, was probably chalking it up to an expired card. Raquel would go from haughty to offended the second her next spa day was interrupted by an overdue payment notification for Basuma. I could already feel the hurricane forming, but I wasn't afraid anymore. It took exactly 5 days for the mask to drop. 5 days of silence. 5 days without me showing up to fix anything, cover bills, or smooth over the messes they had become accustomed to ignoring. On the morning of the 6th day, I woke up to a voicemail from Mom. It wasn't one of the cheerful ones this time. Her voice was tight, strained, and barely concealing the panic. Sergio, I don't know what is going on with you, but I just got a notice from the building manager. They said the rent still hasn't been paid, and if it's not resolved by Friday, they're going to start the eviction process. I don't understand. Why would you let this happen? Call me. I played the message twice. Once to hear it, and once to feel it. There was no, I miss you. There was no, we need you. There was no acknowledgement of what they had done. Just confusion, because the Golden Goose had stopped laying rent payments. Not a mention of the birthday dinner. Not a word about me. Just the rent. 2 hours later, I got a similar message from Dad, Manuel. His was more passive-aggressive. Hey son, I got a letter from the insurance company. They say the car isn't covered anymore. You must have switched banks or something. Would have been nice to get a heads up. Anyway, I'm going to the shop today, so let me know when it's fixed. When it's fixed. Not, can I help? Not, would you mind helping me out? Just the assumption that I would come running as soon as I'd made my point. As if all of this was some kind of dramatic show I was putting on for attention. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the Notes app on my phone and started typing a list. Every expense I'd covered for them in the last 3 years. Rent, car insurance, medications, bills, wedding gifts, emergency loans, surprise birthday dinner. Over 42,000 euros. Roughly. I wasn't planning on sending it, but it felt good to see it. To know that I hadn't imagined it. That they clearly had. The tipping point came the following Saturday. I was at home, answering emails when the doorbell rang. I checked the camera. Raquel. Hair done, sunglasses, a tray of what looked like store-bought muffins, but arranged in a decorative box, as if that somehow made them more personal. I almost didn't open the door, but a part of me wanted to see what she would say face to face. I cracked the door open. Raquel plastered on a fake smile. Hi. Thought I'd stop by. Brought muffins. I didn't take them. Why? Her smile cracked a little. Because it's your birthday week. Well, it was. And I know things got weird. I leaned against the door frame. Weird? She sighed dramatically. Okay, tense. But you made it tense, Sergio. You blew up the family group chat with that post. I raised an eyebrow. Said nothing. In the chat? You know what I mean. Raquel said, pushing the door open further and walking into the living room like she owned the place. You posting all that stuff about paying Mom's rent and Dad's car insurance, and now everyone's hysterical, thinking you're cutting them off. I closed the door and turned slowly. I didn't say I was cutting anyone off. But you did, Sergio. With the rent, with the insurance, with everything else. It's not just the money, it's the way you did it. You didn't talk to anyone. You didn't explain anything. I walked past her, sat down, and finally met her eyes. Raquel, did you explain to me why you organized a dinner across town with everyone but me? Did you talk to me before making that decision? She blinked. It wasn't my dinner. Elena picked the place. I laughed, empty, hollow. Come on. You tagged everyone. You posted the photo. You left a comment saying I had other plans. That was your message. Don't act surprised that I finally heard it. Her expression hardened. This is what I mean. You're being dramatic. We thought you wouldn't care. You're always doing your own thing. You never ask for anything. You always act like you're better than us. I stood up. I act like someone who has boundaries. And you know why I don't ask for anything? Because I learned a long time ago that asking doesn't work in this family unless you have a guilt card to play. But I do show up. I do pay. I do support. I do cover. And what do I get in return? A spot behind the camera? A footnote in your lives? She set the box of muffins on the table and crossed her arms. So what? You want us to beg for your forgiveness now? I walked toward her, picked up the box, and handed it back to her. No, I said. I want honesty. If you don't consider me family, fine. But don't smile in my face and then act like I vanished on my birthday. Don't take my money and then pretend my absence doesn't matter. You want things to go back to normal? That was never normal. Her face flushed. Mom's freaking out. She says she's going to lose her apartment. Dad's insecure. Are you putting them at risk because of hurt feelings? No, I replied quietly. They put themselves at risk when they built their lives on someone they clearly didn't respect. I'm just stepping out of the role they wrote for me, without my consent. For a moment, she didn't say anything, just stared at me, her mouth slightly open, as if she couldn't believe I was actually standing my ground. Then, she turned, walked to the door, and before opening it, she paused. I hope this is worth it, she said. I hope it makes you think, I replied. And she left. The fallout wasn't long in coming. 2 days later, Mom, Teresa, called, crying. She didn't apologize. She was just panicked. I don't know what we're supposed to do. They said we have until Friday, or they're going to start the process. Why are you doing this to us, Sergio? I almost answered. Almost. But instead, I typed something out. A message I would send when the dust settled, when I was sure they finally saw me for more than what I provided. I waited a full week before sending it. 7 days of ignored texts. 7 days of missed calls. A family group chat so eerily silent you would think someone had died. No, no one had died. They just lost their free pass and they were starting to notice. Mom, Teresa, texted me 5 times in one day. One to plead, one to blame, and the rest to remind me of her age and need for stability. Not a word about the birthday. Just more expectations, now laced with panic. Dad, Manuel, left a message. I know we made mistakes. Your mother, your sister, me too. But this insurance thing is serious. Please, son, don't make us pay for something Raquel did. For the first time, someone was admitting that what happened wasn't my fault. And that was new. Still, he too benefited from the silence. I opened my notes and wrote, Hi everyone. I'm not cutting anyone off. I just stopped doing what was never appreciated. Rent. Insurance. Bills. I did it to help, but it was never valued. I spent my birthday alone in a restaurant I paid for. You all had dinner elsewhere and posted about it like I didn't exist. That wasn't a mistake. It was a message. And I understood it. I won't pay any more for people who don't treat me like family. If that changes, we can talk. Until then, I'm taking care of me. Sergio. I sent it. And one by one, I watched the read receipts appear. Raquel. Elena. Mom. Dad. Raquel replied, Seriously? You're calling us out in front of everyone? You're making us look like trash. Mom, Teresa, added, We love you. Don't punish everyone for one night. Elena chimed in, I didn't know it was your dinner. Raquel said you had other plans. Dad, later, texted privately. I messed up. I let Raquel run everything because it was easy. You didn't deserve what happened. If you want to talk, just you and me. That surprised me. I didn't answer right away. I watched as Mom posted cryptic quotes. Raquel uploaded stories with her friends, at least they show up. Ruben texted, I get it. It was messed up. If you want to hang out, LMK. I didn't respond. Not yet. Weeks passed. Mom didn't pay the rent. I got the notice. Dad paid his own insurance for the first time in 6 years. On a Saturday, the doorbell rang. It was him. With 2 coffees. Didn't think you'd open up, he said. We sat in silence, watched kids ride their bikes past. I read your message, he said. I didn't realize how blind I was. I let Raquel speak for everyone, and she used it against you. Yeah, I agreed. I'm not here for money, he added. I'm here because I lost you already, and I don't want to keep losing you. It was his first real apology. Thank you, I said. It means a lot. I'm not perfect, but I'm learning. When he left, I sat there thinking. I wasn't angry anymore. Just tired. Months passed. Raquel sent a long email, half apology, half excuse. I didn't respond. Mom called again, each time calmer than the last. I answered the last one. We talked. Not asking, not giving, just talking. Finally real. Ruben invited me over to his place. We had drinks, watched a game. Like brothers who didn't need to explain themselves. I didn't pay for anything again. But I built something new, boundaries. And oddly enough, they respected them. Some days were awkward. Others were necessary. But they were authentic. And on my next birthday, I didn't reserve. I didn't invite. I didn't pay. I just waited to see who brought something to my table.